All right, this is the Livingston Parish Council Finance Committee meeting, Thursday, September 30th. It's 5:40.
Recording in progress.
You guys, who we got?
It's
Lauren,
me. Yep.
call roll.
Mr. Mack,
Here.
Mr. McMorris, Mr. King,
Here.
Mr. Ard.
Here. And you did get that Mr. McMorris is present, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't show up on the, I don't know.
Yeah, he's there. I see.
I'm here.
Okay.
All right, old business. We have any old business? No old business. All right, new business. Ms. Myers, you present?
Yeah, I'm present.
All right.
So I sent out a little late this evening the very first, very rough draft of the budgets. I don't know if it's due to COVID or the hurricane, but we're a little behind in getting numbers in from people on grant projects and health insurance and the ARP projects. So it is a complete but very rough draft. So the numbers will get changed quite a bit before it's a final votable draft of this budget. But the numbers, the year-to-date numbers in the year-to-date column are as of yesterday. So your current financials for this period are that year-to-date number column in the budget.
All right.
All right.
Anybody have any questions?
No, I'll ask him during the council meeting.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Talbot.
you know, we don't have an introduction of ordinance on the budget. If you read the home rule charter, we're supposed to, when we get the budget tonight, supposed to set a public hearing and cause it to be published in the parish journal.
She sent it. She sent it.
Okay,
We can do that.
but it's still not on the agenda. What I'm saying is it'd be probably easier for y'all to lift the agenda now and recommend an introduction of ordinance to us, and then we can handle it committee reports at a later date, the later date on the deal, and not have to lift the agenda of the council. Because technically we don't have introduced ordinance on the agenda.
Yeah, that
So
way it'll just be under the finance report.
wait, but let me ask the question.
Okay.
That's not how we've done it in the past. In the past, we have not introduced until the meeting in November, because once we introduce,
We
I
just
have to
gotta,
state out loud any changes made to the budget
I know, Jennifer, and
as
I know,
introduced.
I know we've done, and it was pointed out, I read the home rule and it says that we're supposed to set for public hearing and advertise for the public hearing. So maybe is our attorney on here right now?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so Brad, typically the way we set up the date and do the advertisement is to introduce. Can we set the date of the public hearing and cause it to be advertised without technically introducing the ordinance?
So typically what y'all do is y'all introduce it and the public hearing is set at the next council meeting, correct?
Well, yeah, but if you read the home rule, I'm just gonna read the section to you. It says, at least 90 days prior to the beginning of each fiscal year, the president shall submit to the council a proposed operating budget in the form required by this charter. At the meeting of the council at which the operating budget is submitted, which would be this meeting, the council shall order a public hearing and shall cause to be published in the official journal at least 10 days prior to the date of such hearing. So we're supposed to set it at this meeting and then publish it and then publish it 10 days before. So my question is, typically we set the public hearing on the introduction. I understand what Jennifer doesn't want to do. If we introduce the ordinance now, every change that's made to it will have to be amended, and then we'll have to introduce it with amendments 2 weeks before the next hearing. So is there a way to set the public hearing and set the advertisement of the public hearing without introducing the ordinance?
Yeah, because if this would have been the hearing where you would have introduced it, it would have been advertised 10 days ago.
Well, we only have to advertise when we're going to have the public hearing. We don't have to advertise the introduction. It just has to be on the agenda. The issue is not whether we could actually introduce the budget by ordinance tonight. The issue is every change that's made in it will have to be amended at the public hearing, and then we'll have to adopt it by amendments, which based on what Jennifer's saying of getting some of the numbers on some of the grant stuff, could be a long, drawn-out affair. So what we would like to do is set the public hearing, which the Home Rule Charter requires today, for the date that we're going to have it, and then only introduce it 2 weeks before, so that typically any changes that we make will be minute, right, Jennifer?
Yes.
I mean, you understand, Brad? If we
Yeah, I do,
introduce it,
yeah, and I don't see a problem with that.
so do we get finance to recommend that we set the public hearing for a particular date, or can we just do it at the regular council meeting? Since it doesn't really say on the agenda that we're going to do that, I just thought if we've got to lift it, it's easier to lift it in finance than it is to lift it at the regular council.
If you're only setting the public hearing, is that formal action of the council? You don't have to have that on the agenda?
I mean, I don't know. He's got to answer that question. I mean, but you understand what I'm saying, Jennifer? I know why you don't want to introduce it, and I
Yes.
understand why we haven't introduced it. But technically, we're supposed to set the public hearing today.
Well, if we can set the public hearing, I don't think you have to introduce the ordinance and set the public hearing at the same
And
time.
that was,
right?
and that was my question for Brad, is it sounds like we can set the public hearing without it. So my question, do we want
Yeah.
to set the public hearing in finance and then have him report on it to the council? Or do we want to set the public hearing in the council meeting?
We
I
can do
think,
both. We
yeah,
can do both. We can go ahead and set the public hearing in the finance meeting
And
and
then we could handle it under the finance committee report at that point in time in the regular meeting. Does that make sense, Brad?
It does. My computer's glitching out. Yeah, if you want to go ahead and set the public hearing now and then introduce it later, like you're saying, that's okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. The
Okay,
issue
my
is,
screen just went like white on me. I don't know what's going
I
on.
hear you. I got you. The issue, Brad, is let's look at the calendar. Okay, so the third, okay, it'll work in November because we can meet the 4th and the 18th and then meet again on the 9th and then cancel the meeting on the 23rd. So it'll work, don't you think, Jeff?
Yes, I do.
Since Thanksgiving isn't until the 25th and the third meeting is in the 18th, I think we're in good shape in November this year.
yeah, I think so.
So we want to go ahead and set
Yeah.
the
Public hearing.
public hearing.
Or,
Yes, ma'am.
well, for, let's see, we're gonna meet on so we're gonna meet the 18th and then we're gonna meet the 2nd. So the public hearing will be on the 2nd.
Wait.
of December.
The December 2nd is the first Thursday.
I know, but we're gonna move them up a week because the
I will not
4th.
be in the state. I will not be in the state that day.
Well, Jennifer, we gotta meet, we gotta introduce it the meeting before our last one, and the last one we're gonna have in the month is gonna be on the 16th. So we've gotta do the public hearing on December 2nd. Because, well, here's the deal, do you wanna have a council meeting on December 23rd?
I don't care when the meetings are. I just will not be in the state that week. I will
Well,
be at Disney.
okay, so here's the deal.
What
If
about-
we,
Gary, can we move the December meeting to the 9th? Is that, you saying it's gonna be the 2nd?
well, then if we move the last December meeting here's the deal, we've gotta adopt it the second to last meeting of the year. You cannot adopt it on the last meeting of the year. So what I was proposing is that we meet on the 2nd and the 16th. We can meet on the 16th and the 30th. We can meet on the 9th and the 23rd. We can meet on the 2nd and the 16th.
Can we meet on the 9th and the 20th? Because I was looking at what we've done in prior years, and I thought we were gonna have meetings for November on the 8th and the 22nd.
Well, 8th and the 22nd, that's a Monday.
We typically move them to Mondays because the office is closed.
We've been moving them up a week. Jennifer, we've been having them on Thursday. We've just been changing which Thursday we have them on. So what we were gonna do is meet on the 4th and 18th and the 2nd and 16th of December.
I mean, you could still do that. I don't have to be there for you
Yeah, I
to
mean,
adopt the budget.
I think that's, I don't think that's, I think we're gonna do, any amendments will be done. If you just gotta have any amendments that you wanna apply to it on the second. When we do the
Yes.
introduction. So theoretically, we don't adopt it with amendments on the 16th. I just think the introduction, I mean, we're gonna adopt it on the second, so we gotta have all our stuff straight by the 18th.
Yes,
Jennifer, can you have a
Yeah.
final number by the 18th of
absolutely.
November?
Yes.
So the introduction will be on the 18th for a public hearing on December 2nd.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna set our public hearing for this right now in our meeting for December 2nd.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm gonna need a motion from somebody to do that.
I'll
I'll
make
make that
that motion.
motion. Okay, I'll second it.
I got Scooter making the motion and Shane seconded it. So I guess, G-Boy, do you agree with that?
I agree.
All right, so that'd be a unanimous decision right there. All right, so do we have this discussion of the budget? Is there any other business?
I emailed also a check register for the month and the sales tax spreadsheets. Sales tax is still doing really well. As a matter of fact, I did not mention, but I did increase the sales tax revenue in the budget for this year. That's it for me, unless y'all have any additional
that's-
questions.
Yes.
Okay. I got a request,
Go ahead, Shane.
just real quick. I was wondering if I could put in a request to maybe get the history of total collected funds for the 5 mil road and bridge tax from, say, like 2012 to date. And then the same thing with the 1 cent sales tax, you know, where the Livingston Parish receives, Livingston Parish Council receives 3/4 of that.
That's the same tax.
No, it's two
Oh,
different
you're talking
taxes.
about ad valorem? Yes,
Yeah.
sorry. You can see that in the budget back to 19, but yes, I can send you previous years also.
Okay. I'd
Yeah,
like to
those-
see that
those are-
from 2012 to date, you know, annually, total collected.
All right. Okay, Jennifer, also it's been brought to our attention that our printers here in our office are getting a little worn down. Can we put in the budget for next year to purchase some new printers for our council office?
Yes. Yeah, I thought Sandy and I had recently discussed that, and I thought we had already, I thought she had shopped it and we priced it and she'd gotten a
Yes.
PO, but I may be crazy.
Yeah, she shopped it and was asking for a PO, but we was just gonna put it in the budget for next year.
Okay.
Don't want to get it in next year's budget.
She's thinking she might have put it in this year, so.
If you've
Yeah,
already done it,
I thought I had, but,
I
maybe
remember
I-
you mentioning something about it. Oh,
yeah, if you already issued a PO, then we'll just roll with it. But
yeah, we'll have to check with Sandy. I can't remember if she wanted to move forward or not, but I thought I remember her shopping it around and letting me know.
yeah, she definitely got a quote on them.
Okay,
So,
yeah, I just need a total and then we'll put it in there.
okay. All right, anybody else have anything?
good.
All right, can
You
I,
lease those printers, you get a better deal if you lease them.
that's just so you can fix them.
No, I don't do that anymore. I just let you know, I do. I sold it for a little bit.
Jennifer, from an accounting point of view at the government deal, and I know from business how it works. Does it matter to y'all if we lease or purchase, or does?
It depends really on what machine you want to buy, what the cost per copy is. If it's significantly higher than what our cost per copy is on our Xerox machine, then we would want to lease the machine. But it really just depends on what machine. If you're looking for just a basic desktop printer that's just going to print you some black and white copies at your desk, it's pretty cheap and the ink is cheap. But I mean, if you're looking for some super machine that it's going to cost $1 per copy, then that's when we want to try to lease a machine, you know?
I got you.
So it just depends on which one that they're wanting.
All right.
All right, I guess if there's no other business, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Shane,
Oh, wait.
Second.
second by Scooter,
Yep.
all in favor?
Ah,
Aye.
ah.
All right,
Aye.
meeting adjourned.